Hello, this is going to be a video that specializes in teaching everyone how to use Mappy, converting AWBW maps, and other map tutorial based things that I've been using to essentially make my Advanced Wars PvP hack, which is aiming to replace every regular PvP battle or every PvP map in the game by default with maps made from AWBW and other fan creations. Um, so this video is going to be broken into pieces. Feel free to skip wherever you want to. But we're going to start off with just straight up map conversions. So for the first thing we're going to be learning about, we're going to be learning how to convert AWBW maps to Mappy using a specific program that was made by me and someone else who helped me. So let's start off by finding an AWBW map. So we're just going to go to Google. Let's look up, let's just go to AWBW. Oh, I think a map is actually going to open up. Okay, well let's choose a map I haven't done. So let's go to this. I want to start doing some more 4-player maps, so let's check out this map. Paintball Arena. So if you can see, there are some colors that are not in regular Advanced Wars cartridge games. That's fine. The converter I have will make these areas blank, so I always make sure that I keep this open at all times. I always make sure that this is available for me as reference. Just to see the whole process. I also make sure I always have something that, let's see here. Let's go to info, map info. I always make sure I have something that keeps all of my inserted maps in check so I can know where it is in my ROM. So this map is going to be called Paintball. It is 23 by 23. And it's going to be a free-for-all. Cool. So I always have my data, my header, and my units. Data is where the map is inserted, the actual map data. The header is the map info, like where it is placed in the game. Like, you know, whether it's going to be in the free-for-all category, you know, certain rules that might have to be taken into account for the map. Just the basic things that are really useful. And the units are obviously the pre-deploy units. And we'll go through each and every one of these. But right now, when you want to convert this map, you first want to export as text. So we're going to highlight all this text here, copy it. I'm going to go back into my convert folder. So when you have the converter, there should be, you can make your own notepad for it, but there's always needs to be a folder, a notepad or a text document that says input. That's very important. So we're going to copy, well, oh, actually I shouldn't have copied that. We're going to copy this text. We're going to open up input, replace this map that was in there, save it. And I have two different converters here. We're going to go with this one. This is the one I'll be sending people because it'll turn the properties that are not in-game. It'll all the unrecognizable things to convert will be converted to nothing, so it'll be blank, so you don't have to worry about doing any extra steps. So you double-click converter, and now the output should have all the hex values. I'm gonna copy, or Control A, which is select all, and then Control C to copy. You should have a program called HXD I'll include all of the tools you'll need in the description. But we're going to open that up, go to File, New, paste all of that stuff that was in the text document in here, File, Save As, and let's just call it Paintball. I might even already have one of these in here, but let's just do paintball.mar, we'll replace it, so no big deal. Yes. Cool. So now the map is converted. For me, I always put everything in a map folder called Maps. Pretty appropriate. And at this point, we're ready to open up Mappy. So, here we go. File, New Map. This is important. Each map needs to have 16 by 16 on it at all times for the tiles. And the map size is right below it. So this map was 23 by 23, as I can see on the side there. Boom. And this is also important. You need to make sure you put the right tile set. I'll be including my Advanced Wars DS tile set in here. You can use any of the tile sets you want. There's Days of Ruin, Advanced Wars 2. Which means these maps can be converted to them as well with not much issue. If you're doing it with Days of Ruin, you don't have to do really any editing when it comes to the map, because Days of Ruin will automatically fix little issues for you, and the issues that you'll have to fix you're going to see in a minute here. So let's put the tile set in there, just drag it in, that's all you have to do, and then we're going to import the .mar that I made. So this should be it right here. Boom. Alright, let's full screen this. We're going to go to Map Tools, Zoom, X2, and then, because we don't need all this space here, I'm going to extend this out, because you want this thing to be looking just about like this. This will show you every tile very easily. I've also edited it so you can see which way rivers move, so you can make your rivers look, you know, pretty nice. This will help you a lot. So at this point, this is where you need to use Mappy instead of just straight up getting the file and pasting it in there, because if you just straight up make the MAR and put it in game, you'll be missing things. You know, things just won't look right. You know, there's no auto tiling in here. This, you know, program doesn't auto tile, which is good because you can make maps look exactly the way you want them to look, which, you know, pays off tremendously. So we're gonna make this river go like that. Make it go down like that. This river looks fine there, but we want this other river to go down, so let's do something like this. It can be a little time consuming, but if you saw what I did a little while ago, I changed my control so I can pick blocks using the middle mouse button, and it saves a little bit of time. But that looks pretty good right there. As far as those rivers are concerned, and then there's other rivers to worry about. So like these right here, you're going to want to make them go to the side. I'll probably fast forward through this, possibly. And let's go do that. And then this one that way. Okay. Only things to change now is this side. Once you get a basic understanding of it, these arrows really help, and it starts helping you move a lot faster. Like, I've been doing this a decent amount now. Another thing here, we're gonna need to change these colors a little bit. So usually the style you want to go for, since this is actually this is a 2v2 map, this is actually not a free-for-all, that's actually my bad. Let's go to my map info. Let's change that to 2v2. Okay. So for this map, you're gonna want to do like how I'm doing here, you're going to want to make it so that the colors match. So it's usually blue and red. No, blue and green versus red and yellow. That's pretty standard. So as you can see, at this point, I'm just filling in the spaces and into what I think would work. Actually, this one should be red. There we go. And then yellow should be over here. Bam. Alright. That looks good. Once that's done, the extra details, this specific tile right here is for shadows, and your map will look a little funky if you don't have shadows. This is usually the more time-consuming part. It just gets tedious, really. And essentially, what I like to do is I like to work from the top to bottom, and I pretty much just look for where there needs to be shadows, and just click it. Okay, that seems to be all the shadows. I possibly missed one, I'm not sure. But that's for the most part all the shadows. Well, shadows on grass. It gets a little bit more annoying when you have to start doing things like the shadows that appear on roads. So, you know, buildings will add shadows to roads. Something you don't need to add shadows for are things like missile silos or empty missile silos, which this tile specifically right here is what the empty missile tile is. That's the regular silo, that's the empty one. And these are used a lot in AWBW maps. I always replace labs with these because labs have a different use than an AWBW, and it basically acts as another HQ that doesn't give you income. So I wouldn't use them as something you can just capture, because essentially it's like capturing something to give you another HQ, but no matter which HQ you cap, you only need to capture one to lose the battle. So I don't recommend putting more than one in there if you want to have a map that's high funds that use labs. So we're just gonna quickly go through some of these, get all these shadows in. And that seems to be about it. So this map essentially, well, actually, here, there's one more thing we have to do here, which we might not really have to edit much. Like this doesn't look that good, so I think we're actually better off staying with this look of shoal. I mean, I think that looks pretty good as it is. Yeah, that does look pretty good. Actually, no, now that I remember, this is going to be the better look for it based on what I saw in AWBW. So let's just do a little bit of that. And then we need to find something here that'll cover every corner, and this should be it. Yep, that's it. Okay, so the map is done. And that ends a quick Mappy tutorial on putting it in here. So let's save the map. We're gonna call it what we saw earlier, paintball. Paintball, you don't have to put MAR on it, just save it as paintball. And then this is the important part to put it in the game. This is how you want to give it to people if you're making the map and you're giving it to somebody that can insert the maps like me, or you want to insert it yourself. You want to file, let's do it again, file, export, map array.mar. Boom. And it'll export it in the same place where you saved this file. So now that that's over with, we can actually start doing units, and we can start figuring out how to actually put this map in the game. Alright, so now that this is finished, we're going to close that out. We don't need it right now. We still need this open, of course. And this is when you start getting into some scary territory. It's not very scary. You just need to know where to go, and that's why you have this video. So I have deleted every map that existed in the game, so I have a different headers system I have going. I'll provide the headers for the original maps for you guys, just to get a good feeling. Well, the headers are always in the same location. They don't change. The data is what changes from the original. But in my case, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to find the area where this one is located. This is the last map I inserted. It was inserted right here. So, let's see. As you can see, when the zeros start showing up, that is where there's empty data. If you're doing this from scratch, you're going to see a lot of data already here, but since I deleted them all, it's free space. It's open. I'm going to start right here. You want to start your insertions always at, well, I think it's always a safe practice to start it off always on the very far left where the 0, 0 is. It's the best way for the DS to read the data. If the final map you inserted had a lot of values here, then I would skip a line, go to the next one. It might even be a good idea for me to skip a line right now, because I believe there's about 4 zeros, and then the rest are, are actually true zeros. I just know you want to be very careful, and you don't want to, like if I deleted this 0, 0, and put a different number there, it would screw up this whole map. So I always suggest just skipping a line down. If there's, maybe about 5 or 6 zeros after the map that are above it. If not, skip a line. So we're going to insert the map here. So I'm going to right click, copy offset. Let's go to data, paste it there. Good. Units. Let's do the units next. Right. For units, I always change this to 13 for more organization, because these don't have to have any big spaces between them. They can fit in any size they want, and 13 is what makes me very comfortable, and I would suggest doing it at 13. This changes the way that you view the values. It just scrunches it up a little bit. So there's a pretty general format for inserting units, and I'll go over it. Let's keep this open while we're actually going to take notes on the units first before we actually insert them, so we don't need AWBW anymore. So I always go to planner, and let's see, so actually now that we look at this, red and so it's green or blue, green, and then it's this one. So they're actually kind of diagonal to each other. So I do actually need to change that slightly. I can actually do it right now. We'll make this army green. We'll make that one blue. Oh, whoops. Okay, it's a little better. File, save, export as array, it'll overwrite it. And now, essentially, we just need to know the unit coordinates. So, player 1, this is something you also want to look at Mappy a little bit sometimes too. So, let's see, player 1 is going to be down here. So, 821, 921. Those down. 921 inf os orange star 821 inf os. Actually, that is not an inf, That's my bad. That is a mech. This map always starts off with mechs. Okay, so we have the units marked. We can save that. And now we don't need this map at all anymore. So I'm going to close that. And let's insert these units. There's a pretty basic format for Orange Star or Player 1. You always put FE01. That is basically saying Player 1. 0's on the first row, and then we start. So coordinate is 921, so 9. Oops, not 9 like that. 0, 9. 21 is not. You don't want to put exactly 21. It's read differently in hex. A good way to check values, and you'll learn them over time. Like it's actually the value I should be putting there is 15, but let's say what I do is open up my computer's calculator. I changed this to programmer, and so let's go into decimal, and we want to add 21, right? In hex it's 15. If you mess that up, it'll give you issues. It's giving me plenty of issues, but just know that it's different. 0 through 9 are exactly the way you want it to be, but as you go higher up, beyond that, it changes. So you want to start to memorize it. And just pull out the calculator, you know. So 15, which is the same as 21. The unit is a mech, and the mech is 02. There's a whole list of it. I'll put it on screen for a minute, and I'll also send you a link to where you can find all this data, and I'll also include a list for you guys, because there's a lot of units in this game, so it's easy to mess up. So 0064, here you want to put the ammo. Mechs, I believe, have 3 rockets every time. Let me see if I can remember. If I look through my old units, you can find it. So, yep, they have 3. Here's a mech right here. There we go. 6.4 and 6.3, that's going to be, I believe the 6.4 is health, and the 63 is the fuel. And that just maxes it out, so you don't have to worry about it. If you want to change those values, there should be another forum link to show you if you want to have units with specific health and fuel. It might help you out. But if your unit does use ammo, you want to put it here, and you want to put the value for it. And then here we're going to put 3 zeros, and then 01. It's always necessary. And then 0915. And that is one mech. Now I'll fast forward and I'll do the rest of these. Alright, so now that that's finished, as you can see, I also added the end of the format. Once you've done all the different armies, and as you also saw, I included FE04 for player 4, FE03 for player 3, etc. At the end, you want to put FF000 all the way through, and that'll be everything you need to do for the units. I also made sure to click this at the beginning of where the units are inserted, copy insert, and paste it in here. So that's good. Now we need to add it to the header, and the header is going to basically collect both of these things and put it in the game. Now before I can put them in the header, we need to convert them. So there is a format that needs to be done. All you need to know is that these two values need to be added to another value, it's a very specific one. So let's first do this value right here. We're going to keep it on hex, paste it in there, add 134.160. Bam. So that'll give us that for the data. I'd like to paste it next to it. And then we're going to get this value. Boom, and also add it by the same thing. Cool. Now we have them. Finding the header is basically the same as the rest. I'll copy where the original header was, change this to 16. Control G lets me find the offset. We're going to find where the last one I inserted is, and the next one is here. You'll start to realize there's a pattern, so the next one would be here, the next one will be here. These are all the same values because I use them as placeholders, but for you they should have different values if you haven't done as many maps as I have, or if you're on a clean ROM. So now we're doing this specific one here, and now we need to change this data. This is the spot where the data goes, right here, these four. So now we get this value, 2B70E0. You have to read them like they're separate in values of 2. Each one of these is a byte. And you always need to make sure to add a 02 at the end of it. And you read it backwards. So in this case, we're going to do... Oh, actually, no, I did do that a little wrong. The O2 has to go this side. Okay, so now we have to read this backwards. So E0, let's go back here. So E0, 7E, and then 2B02 is already there. 2B02. You keep those as zeros unless you're doing a different type of map. This is just for versus map, so I'm not going to be worrying about this set. But this next set after that is where the units go. And the units here we have is, we're doing the same way as last time, E1, 89, 2E, and we got to add that O2. Cool. So now that is linked. The map is not inserted yet, but that is what we're going to do in a minute now. So now that everything is here, the map is ready to be put in there. And while I'm also at it, I'm going to click here, copy the offset, put it here for reference. And now let's insert this map. So this is when you open up another program. Let's go back to my map insert folder. There's going to be a file called AWBW Inserter, and it should look like this. So now we need to find the MAR file that we exported earlier, paintball. Let's find the ROM that we're putting it into. My specific ROM, if you're doing it for DS, you're going to want to change this to all files. And we're going to find the dual strike folder that I've been using. So there we go. The map is 23 by 23, so you need to set that in here. And then the offset is going to be the place where you put the map. There you go. So boom. Now, all we have to do is run it, and the map is inserted. Before we even look at anything on the map, let's remember that the map that we inserted doesn't really have a whole lot of water on the sides. It's mostly land. So we want the map border to have plains around it. And some maps will be surrounded in water on the dead space that you can't use, and some will have plains. And in our case, we want plains. So the important thing is you look at each header starts around here. The header's about this big, just about, a little more, a little less. Actually, it's more like this. The part we're focusing on here is right here where you see the CO. CO01 is always like that. But the part we're trying to change is this right here. You want to change this one if you want it to be either planes or if you want it to be C surrounding the map. And in our case, we want it to be planes. 00 is C, 01 is planes. All you have to do, Control S, save, and then now the map will be surrounded in that. Second thing we want to change is we want to change what category it is in. So it is going to be at a 2v2, and let's double check in my folder what we have it as. Team versus is 05. So this is how many players. We want to change this to 04. So now that means it is now a 4-player map. And we want to change this to 05. Damn. That's good to go now. To change the colors, there's a way you could change the colors in here, and I believe these do it here. So just to test it out, let's do a little something. So in our case, player 1 is black, so 05 would be that. If this doesn't work, it's not a big deal. We're really just testing it. But this should be what you do to change it for this map. And if it's not, we'll figure it out. Player 2 is like pinkish colors, so we'll make them 01. And player 3 is it's blue, so we'll make that 02. And then this one should be green, so 03. So this should hopefully be what we need for this. But now that that's done, we're going to test it out. So let's open up the ROM. I have my emulator here, this Mumi. Let's open this up and let's see if it's in there. All right. So there we go. It's called None because I changed the name earlier. But as you can see, there's the map. And the colors are actually perfectly done. So that was the correct way to do it. Okay. Let's check one more thing. Yep, we got it. So at this point, this is when you would make, the teams do what you want to do. Actually, yeah, we'll do it. So that. And now the map is here, the whole map. And that's pretty much the basics for converting and inserting a map into Advance Wars Dual Strike. It's gonna work very similar for Advance Wars 2. Perhaps I'll make a video on that soon. It's actually a lot easier than this. But that's essentially it. Now the map will function like anything. The CPU will know what to do. If I just end the turn, these guys know what to do here. They're infantries. And that's pretty much all you need to know for this. If you have any other questions, or if there's anything you think I may have missed, feel free to send me a message. You can like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Doesn't really bother me what you do. But yeah, I hope you liked the video, and I hope this really taught you something. Thank you.